Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, we are back on F1 2021 as always, and we are here with BRS. I'm not sure what round it was, but we have 3 rounds to go, including this one. And you can see we're at Spa, and it's going to be raining for the entire race. So on the basis of that, I decided to really compromise myself for just focus on the race only, because I wasn't particularly confident in the wet round here, and I just wanted that more downforce. So we're going to sacrifice the qualifying. And coming into this, I had a 29-point lead in the championship, which you would think is quite comfortable. And with 3 rounds to go, including this one, technically I could win the championship here today if I secured a win. However, the final race at Abu Dhabi is double points. So, yeah, that makes things a bit tricky. And the round following on from this, so next weekend, it's actually at Singapore, and I am not able to attend that race. So things could get quite close coming into the finale of this championship, and I think quite a few drivers have been quite unlucky at times, and there's been a few races where I haven't actually scored points, whether that's, I don't know, strategy, damage, or just not driving that well. So no one's been ultra consistent overall, and my main championship rival is Snipes SB, and he is only 29 points behind, and yeah, missing Singapore next week. So if he wins that race and outscores me here, it's going to be whoever beats who at the finale at Abu Dhabi. So yeah, things could get very, very interesting. But so far in this session, I really changed my setup. So I was using 7.5 wing for the dry. I decided to change it to 9.7 for the wet. And honestly, I hadn't done any wet running around here, which was a bit stupid of me, because every league race I see, even in F1 esports, it rains at Spa. And yeah, I don't know why I just didn't do at least some practice in the wet, but that wasn't the case, and I decided to fully gamble on a wet setup. As you're about to see here, my final quali lap.
What?
Yeah, at the time I thought it wasn't a validation, but looking back at it now, a very, very minuscule invalidation, and that puts me in 10th place, and it's a full wet race, or not full wet, but it's wet for the entire race. So
yeah, middle sector,
yeah, not a great qualifying at all. My rival Snipes is in P6, who is on the controller as well, which the controller we know is very good in wet weather conditions. So I was really hoping that this gamble with the wet setup was going to pay off. And I know a lot of people were saying to me, or screaming at me, that I should run low downforce, but everyone's going to be running a little bit lower downforce, and I was convinced everyone else was running much lower than myself. So I'm going to see what I can do here. So we got 4 lights, 5 lights, and as they go out, now trying to get a good start, and we get a really rocket launch start. So maybe the help with that extra downforce, and we've gone up into P8 already from P10. So pretty much a perfect start so far. And
thank you, Justin, for joining Extra Rotation Club. Thank you, bro, for egg nuts.
Also, the reason why I've actually gone over the higher downforce is that it's possible to do a 0 stop on intermediate conditions around here. And with higher levels of downforce, you actually get better tyre wear. So that's also what I was gambling on as well. But so far, managed to do quite a good start up into P8, and now we'll be able to see if everyone else, I believe most people are running just their normal dry setup. That's what I was convinced of, judging by the qualifying times. And you can just see we just got so much more grip than everyone else at the moment. So that's 3 positions gained just after the first third of the lap already. So at this stage, I was starting to feel quite confident, and you can see again coming into here, We get a pretty nice exit behind NXR Mark. This is going to be another corner where you will see the high downforce really coming into play. And at this stage, was driving a bit on the cautious side, so we made up 3 positions. Just going to let ourselves settle into the race, and you can see the mid-apex speed is just far superior with this level of downforce. But this is where it's going to suck. It's the straight line speed. It's just terrible. So I think most people are running 7.5 wings or 8.6 and stuff like that. We're currently rocking 9.7, so we're going to be severely limited in a straight line. You can see my championship rivals going side by side with some people, as NXR Mark gets a pretty poor exit, really poor traction. We're just going to drive around the outside of him and going to leave him some room for the apex, but we get that done. And now we're up into P6, so a pretty perfect first lap, I would say, from these conditions at this track. And that was giving me a little bit of hope for this race. If people try and do the 0 stop, I should be in a much better condition with my tyres, with the high downforce. You can see we've already got 7% wear already. But as we skip on to lap 3, coming up behind the Alpine and Kirby here, as they're going to be going side by side. See, I'm having to use all my ERS just to try and even match their straight line speed. They're going to go side by side, so we're just going to let them negotiate these series of corners themselves, and we can sense there, so maybe a nice little cutback here, and we get the cutback timed very nicely, and now we're up into P5. So great progress so far. We've got Kungus Goat 1 up ahead of us, and Snipes, our main rival for this championship, up in P3. But as we skip on to lap 7, wet weather conditions, it's always so hard to overtake, and that's why I didn't go with the lower downforce as well, because then I'll just be losing out in the corners, and it really relies on me to just outdrive them more, even with the dirty air. So I was just hoping that their tyres would go off more and more throughout the race, and then that's going to enable me to get closer. And that's exactly what I felt was happening. So do a little bit of a fake move down here just to try and put him off the racing line. Try and get a good exit coming off this corner. But again, it's just that straight line speed. But as the race goes on, I felt very confident that it would be swinging back into my favour. And the gap is now up to 3 seconds to Snipes SB, who has got the fastest lap of the race. Be about to see again the straight line speed come through to here as GPR Dizzy gets out of the race, and then the safety car has actually come out, which took a little bit longer than expected. But the great thing for me here is Kungus Goat and Snipes, they're actually teammates, so they are going to have to somewhat double stack coming into here, which might enable me to jump Goat here. So let's see, going into this, we're going to put on another set of intermediate tyres, and let's see if we jump in as we come out here. The answer is yes, we have jumped him. So now we're up into a, I would say, a net P4, as Kimmy and Mark are the only drivers who have decided to continue, but the wear is going to be quite high for those guys at the end of the race. So I feel with the fresher tyres, it should be quite comfortable to overtake those two drivers. So as the safety cars now come in, let's see what we can do here. And as I said before, it was Kimmy and NXR Mark who are the only drivers who decided to stay out, as we completely misjudged our braking point there. But yeah, the setup, it felt really great in the corners, but I also felt it was just a little bit too twitchy in the low speed. In the high speed, it was great, but on the straights and low speed corners, it just wasn't working that well. So if I could have gone back, I would probably put on maybe 8-7 wings or something like that. But coming through into here, Snipes has actually overtaken Kimmy, who still hasn't boxed yet, and you can just see already that we just have so much more grip with the downforce and the sides, and you can just see already just the rotation we're getting through into here. So really crucial that we get this move done, trying to go around the outside, and fair play to Kimmy. He leaves me a lot of racing room there. We get a good exit. I don't expect him to fight too hard, as now we are coming up behind James B 2004, who looks like he's struggling quite a bit. As Snipes is going round the outside of him to get the inside for the left-hander, and James B is an absolutely rapid driver, also on the controller, who has pitted. So the only thing I could say or assume is that he got a bit of damage, and yeah, I think it's quite obvious that he has got some damage there. So now we're up into, I would now say, a net P3, or maybe even a net P2, because TTM Kai has a 3-second time penalty, and the guy ahead of him, Mark, hasn't pitted yet at all, and I think he's going to be struggling massively as we come towards the end of this race. We're about to hear a bit of team radio.
So Kai's got a penalty, and Snipes, I'd say, is the net leader then.
So yeah, in my opinion, I would say Snipes is the net leader, which is my championship rival. So if I could just outscore him in this race, since I'm missing Singapore next week, then at least I would have pretty much a lead going into the final race itself. It's coming through to here. And XR Mark has actually been passed by both his drivers, so we're going to do exactly the same as what we did to Kimmy, going around the outside. And fair play once again. Racing has been very clean so far, and now we are up into a P3, but TTM Kai has that 3-second penalty. But again, I was feeling more confident as this race went on, because the tyres are definitely going to be swinging into my favour. So I'd really wanted these guys to be pushing as much as possible. I didn't want any more safety cars at all, because that would just enable them to save tyres. So I was quite happily to be placed in this position. So from P10 to P3 in 13 laps was pretty good progress. But you'll be able to see here again, it's on the straights I lose most of the time, but going through here under braking and through the corners, I just gained so much time. So if I could get track position on these two cars, or Snipes, I felt confident that I could maybe do enough to maintain that position as well. But you're about to see an example again of the straight line speed. We're just losing so much down the straight, and we're also having to, well, we're not able to save as much ERS either, because of the high downforce. It's requiring the engine to do a lot more work by itself, since there is more drag on the car. Snipes looks like he's going for a move, but right here now, he doesn't really need to actually do anything, as the virtual safety car has now come out. And is that going to be the full-blown safety car? Nope, it's just going to be the virtual one. So we're going to skip on to when this decides to finish. And the virtual safety car seems to stay out for quite a long time on this game. And now it is ending. And that has helped me actually slightly, because I've been able to save a little bit more of the ERS now. But now we arrive to lap 15. James B retires from the session, and what is that going to do? It's going to, is it the virtual, or is it going to be the full safety car? What is it? It's going to be the full-blown safety car. And in a way this helps me, because I can save ERS and bunch up, but then it really enables these guys to save their tyres. So I have to make a move as soon as I can. So trying to get the perfect restart, and we absolutely timing this to perfection. That causes him to go deep. But one thing I want you to note right here, this is the safety car line. So if I'm behind Snipes here, I am able to overtake him after this. And going through that, we were behind going into that line. He regained the position, and now we have done the absolute perfect restart, timing that to the safety car line to perfection. But now we know how bad our straight line speed is, so we've got to try and get a really good exit going up through Redon El Rouge. This is the corner that I struggle with the most. It should be a flat out corner, but I just didn't have the confidence to do it in the car at all. And you can just see the straight line speed that our championship rival actually has. But then going to what is going to happen. So he's going to go around the outside. We're then going to get the inside for this right-hander. And so far, a little bit of wheel banging, but on the limit of fairness. And we've got that move done. And up ahead of us, TTM Kai has a 3-second time penalty. So right now, this has been the absolute perfect race. And you can see a little bit of a sigh of relief there. A little bit of catching my breath again. Because we've gone from P10 to pretty much a P1 in this race. As long as we don't get a penalty and we keep it on track. And again, now I have some clear air in front of me as well. So the gap is 2 seconds. All I have to do is just try and maintain it for these next 3 laps. Or no, don't lose any more than 0.3 of a second. And you can see the gap has actually come down already to 1.9. 7 tenths to the car behind. But the problem is, again, is that in a straight line. And you can see that delta is rising to the leader and decreasing to Snipes up ahead. It's just our straight line speed. So we've just got to make sure that we are far enough ahead, really going through the first and the third sector. As TTM Kai does a 53.3, so reclaims the fast lap of the race. We're coming through into here, we make a little bit of a mistake, so we go actually quite wide. And again, such a poor exit coming off here. And this is going to really give Snipes a good opportunity going through into this first sector. So coming through here again, we try our best to go flat out, but we still can't quite do it. Now coming through into here again, he's got actually a much better run this time, and it's just a straight line speed. There's just absolutely nothing we can do. A bit of wheel banging once again, so we're going to do a repeat, but this time we actually outbrake him going into the corner and have maintained that position, and we live to fight for another day. But the gap has now gone up to 2.3 seconds, 2.4. Let's see what we can do going into the final sector. And at this point, my heart was racing quite a bit, because if I could win this race and gain another 7 points on Snipes, even if he wins next week with the fastest lap, I still have a fairly nice advantage going to Abu Dhabi, which is a track I actually love on this game. It's very good for the wheel, and it's just a track I'm feeling quite fast at, especially with the strategy. So I feel that would be strongly going in my favour. And you can see we've actually brought down that gap by almost 6 tenths in this middle sector. So all we have to do is just stay far enough ahead. And I don't think Kai is going to pull away from us in this race. If anything, I think we would actually be catching him towards the end of this race. But it's going through the last chicane and the first sector where we are really, really struggling with the car. So coming into here, crucial that we try and get a good bit of momentum this time. And yeah, we don't get a bad exit at all. Gap is still 1.9 up ahead, 5 tenths behind. Coming through into here, we almost do it flat out again, so still don't quite have the confidence. But this time, he is not close enough, or no, I don't think he's going to really try him out and attack going through into here. So the gap is 1.9, so we're doing everything we need to do. So this is an absolutely perfect race so far. And then coming through into here, what happens here? And then we almost lose it on the exit, and out of nowhere, the car just snaps, going down the inside, and we have actually ghosted going through the Alpine. And if we hadn't ghosted there, I think both of our races probably would have been over. And yeah, I have no idea. I think I was just a bit too greedy on the power going through into that corner, and it's just completely caught me off guard. And yeah, thank God we actually ghosted. I don't know why it ghosted, but yeah, I don't think Snipes really expected me to break that late. There definitely wasn't room for 2 cars through there, so either he closed the door or he wasn't expecting it. But now I'm absolutely livid with myself that I thrown away a race win from P10 on the grid in the wet at Spa. and not secured the championship, but certainly would have made my mind much more at ease that I would still have a lead going into this final race. So CTM Kai sets another fast lap off the race. Could have got the fastest lap then as well. And yeah, it's just a lapse of concentration. I don't know what it was. It was, yeah, the car just got away from me. I think looking back at that, I just had too much throttle going into there. And yeah, very, very bizarre. I have been playing quite a lot of other games recently, like Assetto Corsa, where the force feedback is so good, you can actually predict when the car's going to snap through your wheel through the force feedback. Whereas in this game, the force feedback is, being honest, nowhere near as good. It's more about visually seeing what the car's doing rather than the feedback, and you have to kind of anticipate it more on this game rather than actually feeding it on ACC. So I think that small detail might have been the reason I got caught out a bit there, because usually I just never spin and never really make mistakes like that at all, especially in the wet, which is usually quite a strong condition for me. So yeah, it is what it is. But right now, I knew the winner was pretty much out of the question, but just to try and gain any points at my championship rival would be the least I could do right now. So I'm just going to give it absolutely everything. But with the high downforce, we have expended quite a lot of the energy trying to push as much as possible. And yeah, just a very frustrating moment. And you can see it on my face as well that we're not particularly happy. And again, going to the slow speed corners, just lacking that stability. And yeah, I really should have practiced a little bit of the wet and maybe built a wet setup, knowing how often it rains here. So no, usually I do plan for every scenario, but on this occasion I just, for some reason, decided not to do that, and it's coming back to bite me just a little bit. And you can see again, coming through into here, straight line speed is just too strong, and he's actually pulling away, and we ran out of battery as well. So coming into the final lap, this is our final opportunity, going through into the sector 3, and I think the straight line speed is just going to be enough. So we are quite close. If we had a very low downforce setup, we would be in a good position here, but yeah, I don't think there's anything we can do. So going through here, we're going completely flat out this time, but unless we go for a massive dive bomb, I don't think it's going to be anything we can do. And yeah, that's what happens when you make that small mistake. It can just cost you so much. And yeah, not particularly happy with that. But yeah, it is what it is. Things you have to learn from. And yeah, next race, Singapore, next weekend. I am not here on Saturday. I should be racing in ORL on Sunday. But yeah, I will be back for the finale of BRS at Abu Dhabi. Right now, there's actually a stewards inquiry going on because Snipes SB has decided to put me in the stewards because I overtook him apparently under the safety car. But I did overtake him after the safety car line. So we'll have to see the outcome of that. But I assume that the positions will probably remain the same. And if he wins at Singapore and gets the fastest lap, we will be on completely equal points going into the finale, where it's going to be a Hamilton versus Verstappen. Whoever beats who is going to win the championship. So we will see what happens. But yeah, thank you so much for your support on the channel. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you very, very soon. Peace.